Well, I guess we've been a little bit spoiled lately with how good our Raws have been, so they had to throw quite a stinker at us tonight. So I'm going to talk about last night's edition of Raw, and these are the shows I really don't like talking about because there's really not much good I can say about them. There are a few minute things I can say about them. But first, as always, countdown 21 days and counting, of course. It's going to be awesome. Literally, it's going to be 21 days, so almost 3 weeks from tomorrow, we'll be heading down south to Orlando. So, everything's all taken care of for the week, and AJ and myself are actually going to As Above, So Below on Thursday night, as well as November Man on Thursday night, and on Friday, we're going to start filming, and very soon, you guys and girls out there, given the fact that last night was the Emmys, which I didn't watch because I watched this abysmal edition of Raw instead, and because of that, we're getting ready to start award season, which means we're going into speculation period. And that means that very soon, as a matter of fact, next week, you're going to get me and AJ's first official Academy Awards predictions. So that's going to be coming next week. Or the week after. I think it's next week. I'm not sure. I need a drink. I apologize. So, let's talk about the show. So Michael Cole's in the ring, and he welcomes 3 Hall of Famers for a forum. And it's Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and Shawn Michaels. They come out, they all sit at the table, and Michael Cole's basically the moderator here, and he's bringing up the fact of John Cena against Brock Lesnar is going to be a rematch at Night of Champions on my birthday next month. Excuse me. Now, he's going to ask what all the Hall of Famers think of this decision. Shawn says John Cena doesn't really have any good chances at this point. It's not happening. Everyone comes to a crossroads, and maybe it's time to say when. Hulk Hogan says Cena's time isn't up, and he can still go. Ric Flair thinks the world of John Cena, but even though he's the franchise, the 15-time World Heavyweight Champion, it doesn't matter. He doesn't think that John Cena can win at Night of Champions. Hogan, of course, is the only Cena supporter here, and he says again that Cena's got the great personality, and Shawn's like, you know what, this isn't a personality contest. We all like him personally, but he doesn't have a chance against Brock. Hogan says in their first match in Chicago, Cena found a way to win, one way or another. This is the rubber match. Cena will find a way to win again. So John Cena comes out and he says, no one seems to think I can beat Brock Lesnar. I seem to think that Hulk Hogan was kind of putting you over kind of heavy. So yeah, your statement is null and void. Cena respects the opinions of Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, but he's sick of all the talk about him being done and what he should really do with his career. SummerSlam was a 100% beatdown. That fight changed him, and he wants to fight Brock again. So, Cena's going to bring the fight to Brock at Night of Champions, and he's not going to Night of Champions to beat Brock Lesnar, he's going to beat Brock's ass. Okay. So yeah, you bring out 3 Hall of Famers, and you do less than a 10-minute segment to start off the show. Okay. I understand you're running against the Emmys, and you have to understand what kind of a parallel that there is between the audiences that watch Raw and the Emmys. Not a very big one. We have the same audience on this channel, obviously, because we have the people that are here for the movies talk and they're here for the wrestling. Not everybody's here for both, and we understand that. That's the reason why they're both here. But anybody that was going to watch the Emmys last night, watch the Emmys. Anybody who's going to watch Raw, watch Raw. It wasn't going to matter who was on the show. If you had diehard wrestling fans, you probably were going to have them tuned into your program. And it didn't matter that you had Hogan, Michaels, and Flair there to try to get the top of the hour when the show started. It was only 10 minutes. It was a waste of all 3 of them. But basically the fact remains that no one thought that Brock Lesnar was going to be defeated by Cena. No one thought Cena has a chance. Even Hogan was saying that Cena did have a chance, so, like I said, the statement's null and void. But both Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels were saying that Cena doesn't got a chance against Lesnar. Now, obviously, Hogan has experience against Brock Lesnar. Don't forget, Brock Lesnar has beaten Hulk Hogan before for the WWE Championship. And Brock and Flair have crossed paths maybe once. I don't believe they've actually had a match, but I know they've crossed paths somehow in the span. And we all know that Shawn Michaels got his arm broken by Brock Lesnar and the Kimura, so that's all water under the bridge apparently, because Brock is the one who is going to get the job done. So Cena's got to find the dark side of himself again and go after Brock Lesnar with ferocity next month. Okay, so we get our first match of the evening. It is Jack Swagger against Rusev in the final, well, it seems to be one of the final matches they have. Rusev, of course, still selling the ankle, because obviously it's got a bullseye on it from Swagger's attack at SummerSlam last week. We pick it up midway through, charging clothesline, and so he's face first to the top turnbuckle, and then a charging knee in the corner yelling USA. An overhand right lifts him up, and Rusev counters with a hot shot. An avalanche sends Swagger to the floor. We come back to live action, and there is a side bear hug turned into a full bear hug on Swagger. Swagger stomps on the foot, ducks the clothesline, and a spinning heel kick by Rusev sends Swagger back down. Swagger with a belly-to-belly suplex on Rusev when they both get back up. Ducks his clothesline, a clothesline from Swagger, charges in with knees, and he whips him in to a big boot on Rusev. Swagger bomb is countered with a boot up, and Swagger, of course, has seen this before, and he counters into a Patriot lock. Drags him in the middle. Swagger's about to get Rusev to finally tap out. Crowd's going nuts for it. Rusev still manages to crawl to the ropes, and the referee calls for the break. So he rolls to the floor to try to regroup, and Swagger ends up getting rammed back first into the ring apron, and Rusev drags him around and does it again, and dumps him back in the ring. He's still limping. So he stomps him, goes for the accolade. He gets countered into the Patriot lock. He kicks it off, and Swagger with a jackknife cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So the Muay Thai kick to the ribs, and that's pretty much the end right there. Then kicks to the ribs and clubs him in the corner. And then Swagger yells at him, "We the people," and before he can say people, he gets straight kicked by Rusev, and he pounds away in the corner, and the referee backs him up. So he starts kicking him in the ribs, the referee again backs him up, he kicks him in the ribs again, the referee again backs him up, so he's in the ropes, and the referee finally backs him up yet again, so he stomps on the ribs viciously. Lana's laughing at ringside, and Rusev just won't stop stomping away, and when he finally does, he straight kicks Swagger in the ribs. More vicious stomps, and the referee calls the match and awards the match via ref stoppage to Rusev. After the match is over, Jack Swagger is being checked on in the trainer's room, and of course Bo Dallas walks in and basically says that it was a tough loss, again, and you let your country down, again. If you want to succeed, you just have to believe. So obviously, Swagger needs to believe, and he might actually win. So yes, we're continuing the storyline between Jack Swagger and Bo Dallas, which is going to kick us into probably a match at, I know a match at Night of Champions for sure, and potentially a matchup maybe at Hell in a Cell. This may go 2 pay-per-views, I'm not sure. I don't think it'll go into Survivor Series. I think Rusev will be working with someone else by Survivor Series. But then again, we've already started a program with Mark Henry, but they don't know what they want to do with Mark Henry. They want to sick him on Rusev, or do they want him and the Big Show to form this horrid tag team? So, yeah, it's anyone's guess what they want to do here. We got our next match. It is a #1 contender match to the United States champion. I said Sheamus would be on the show, but I didn't think he would just be doing guest commentary. It is Cesaro against Rob Van Dam, and we pick it up midway through. Van Dam split-legged moonsault, 1-2, and a kick-out. Whip in, Cesaro reverse. Van Dam with a tip-up, lands on the shoulder. Cesaro, of course, was going to transition it into a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, but he lands on his feet, does Van Dam, because he's seen this before. Springs off the middle rope, and a standing side kick connects to Cesaro. Goes up top for the 5-star. Cesaro smartly rolls to the floor to break up momentum. And Van Dam climbs up the ropes and gets caught with a neck snap from Cesaro. Cesaro hits the Gotch-style neutralizer, 1-2-3, and now he's going to face off against Sheamus at Night of Champions. I like everything about this. Seeing Cesaro and Sheamus fight again is going to be awesome, because they actually can put together quite stiff matches. Very tight wrestling, and for those who don't know vernacular, this probably sounds quite sexual, but I promise you it's not. It's just words. But still, I will say that Cesaro and Sheamus are going to have quite a vicious battle on their hands at Night of Champions, with Cesaro walking out with the championship finally. And I do think this may actually lead to a double turn. I think it may not happen in Night of Champions, but the rematch at Hell in a Cell, I think we're going to do a doubles turn. I think Cesaro is going to turn face, and I think Sheamus is finally going to turn heel. Because Sheamus is a horrible babyface and needs to be a heel. And Cesaro had nice legs going into a babyface run, but it was snuffed out, and they made him back to being a heel again. So now maybe they can start with that, and they can sick him on his path to a push, leading to his eventual run with the main event picture again. So, before this, Cesaro going to play a game of one-upsmanship. He grabs the U.S. Championship, and he kind of just flicks it off at Sheamus. Of course, that ticks Sheamus off. He doesn't do anything, so they're going to go at it, and that's going to be awesome. We got our next match. Is a rematch from SmackDown, since apparently no one watches SmackDown, even though I know a lot of you out there watched the SmackDown and NXT video I did yesterday, so thank you for that. And I will state right now that this is a little bit better than the last couple matches. AJ has really been making Paige's life miserable, and Paige and Natalya have been having some decent wrestling matches. Paige goes right to work with a forearm to the collarbone and just drops Natty straight up. So she does her seductive, like, slide up on the body, and it's awesome, and then she does the mounted headbutts, and then she locks in an abdominal stretch, and Natty tries to break it with elbow strikes to the knee, and it gets reversed, and she pulls back on the ankle, and gets snapmared out of it. A slap to the face from Paige, comes off the ropes, and Natalya with a nice release German suplex connects, goes for the sharpshooter, and Paige grabs the ring apron to call for the break, and double leg into the PTO, gets counter, well, going for the PTO, and just really awkward counter sequence between Paige and Natalya just did not work at all. It was the first of the botches for the evening. Sadly, it didn't work. She kicks her off finally, hits the Paige turner, which actually looks somewhat decent, gets the 3 off of that. AJ's music hits, she comes out down the ramp, she gets in the ring, and basically Natalya is up at this point, and AJ watches her turn around into the discus lariat. So AJ gets in the ring, helps Paige up, smiling. She says, "Paige, you're my little English muffin, and you say that we're frenemies, and you love me. Well, you're being sincere. I'm also going to be sincere." So she smiles, and she hugs her, like Bayley style. She hugs her, and she puts out her hand for a shake, and she takes it and puts it to her lips and kisses it. And then she just skips around Paige and leaves. It's kind of like we're playing the schoolyard games. That's what I've been getting a lot of vibes from for the Raw last night, was schoolyard games, like the check yes or no thing. Do you like me? Check yes or no. It's like, he, I like you, he, you don't like me, he, I'm not going to do anything about it. So, yeah, it's one of those things. And, I know HLA was a long time ago, and I know that it's something they would never do in the PG era at WWE, but there's a couple things on this show tonight that were definitely not PG, and that's one of them. I did enjoy this, for selfish reasons, I won't lie. But, yeah, Paige and AJ are going to have a nice little knockdown drag-out at Night of Champions. Should be really good. Kane comes out to eulogize Dean Ambrose after his curb stomp on cinder blocks. American History X in the WWE. I love that. A little bit different, obviously. A lot different, but you get where I'm coming from here. Tonight is the celebration of the future. Brings out Seth Rollins, of course, because he's the future. And Rollins comes out. He says he was the leader of the Shield, and he handpicked Ambrose, and pain and fear were never a factor. Fear was never a factor for him. And he had to prove it at his own expense. The authority always wins, regardless. Ambrose's career would be simply what if? What if he would have known his place and not tried to rock the boat? And what if he just simply walked away instead of trying to make things hard on himself? You will never see Dean Ambrose again. I created the Shield, and I destroyed it. What happens when you say you destroyed the Shield? One person left unaccounted for in this case, and that's Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns, of course, comes out. Roman starts fighting with Kane on the ringside, and Kane gets whipped into the steps. Roman comes in, Rollins attacks him, they brawl, Seth tosses him into the podium, tossed into the podium, sorry. Roman nails Seth with the podium, clothesline to Seth, and Kane pulls Seth to safety as Roman readies for the spear. So Goldust and Stardust are saying that tonight is when the stars will align and they will become tag team champions. So it is made clear and apparent that the Usos have been tag team champions for 175 days. Not nearly as long as the Ascension. A little bit more than half of the time the Ascension has been tag team champions. They've been tag team champions almost a year now. But that's NXT. That's why I say they keep needing to do that match. But yeah, the Usos are getting kind of stale. And Goldust and Stardust are starting to pick up some momentum. Obviously, they beat the Usos in a non-title match. In a really awkward tag match last week that I just couldn't get into. And they beat the Wyatt family on SmackDown. Again, I guess no one watches SmackDown, so we don't really talk about that. Hence why Rob Van Dam was ready to go tonight. And he obviously did not. Even though he lost Cesaro, he obviously wasn't selling anything from his severe beating from Randy Orton. Oh well. I guess if it happened on SmackDown, it didn't happen at all. So we pick it up midway through the match. Stardust got a chin lock on Jimmy Uso. Uso punches his way out. Boot is caught, spun around, enziguri kick, connects. Tagging to Goldust, and real quick, actually no, I'll go and I'll finish the match and then I'll explain my problem with this. Goldust makes a cover 1-2 and a kick out. Armbar by Goldust. Whip in, ducks the clothesline. Both men have the same idea. Both men go down with a double cross body. And tag in. So Star comes in, Jey Uso comes in, clothesline, sidekick to the ribs, right hand, and whip in, reverse, shoulder block to Stardust. Rikishi special connects and ducks Goldust's clothesline and catches him with Samoan drop. Samoan suicide dive on Stardust. Jey starts favoring the knee, and Star goes in at 9, and the referee continues the count, and Goldust and Stardust win via countout. Goldust gets on the mic, is like, no, that was our opportunity. Sego, you got yourself counted out on purpose. We want a rematch now. So before this can happen, Goldust and Stardust just completely attack the Usos and start brutalizing them. Jimmy gets tossed to the floor. They grab Jey, they start ramming his leg into the ring post, start beating him down. So Goldust and Stardust have turned heel, supposedly, and they're looking towards a rematch with the Usos at Night of Champions. But I guess it's probably going to happen. I'm pretty sure they turned heel because we recently had another tag team split, and that is Ryback. Because Ryback apparently went on Twitter and said something to the likes of, he needs to do some thinking, but he'll be back. So Ryback will probably come back as a babyface, and I know he will, and I think that's going to work really well. Obviously, it took one really awesome hometown crowd last week to change Ryback's career path, which is good because they need to do something with it. I don't know what's going to happen with Curtis Axel at this point. Goldust and Stardust turn heel. Here's the issue. Number one, there's a couple of things right off the top. They both just got new merch. So, John Cena rules do not apply here. New merch powers are not in effect. So, basically, you bought a Stardust shirt tonight? Congratulations! You're now one of the fans supporting a heel. Which, I know a lot of fans would not like that. That's interesting timing from WWE, to bring out merch and then turn the brothers heel. 2, I really hate the fact that they started calling them Gold and Stardust. Stardust makes sense. Obviously, it's Goldust and Stardust. Makes sense. Gold and Stardust makes me think that Goldust's new name is just Gold. That's it. He is AU symbol on the periodic table. That's it. He's Gold. I'm going to start calling him AU from now, or OW. I don't know how to pronounce it, but like like AW, AU, because he's gold now, so that's it. There's that. And I probably completely messed up the periodic table reference, but I think it makes sense to me. I think AU is right. I'm not positive. Not like I can ask anyone, because I'm just kind of talking to the camera right now, and you guys can't respond back to me, but I guess you can leave a comment, so you can do that if you'd like. So anyway, like I was trying to say, they called him Gold and Stardust. Not Goldust and Stardust. Gold and Stardust. So it's just Gold, apparently Gold and Stardust. Lawler was calling Dust to Dust, which I have no issue with that. I think that's a decent name for them. So Goldust and Stardust, I think, works just as well. Anyway, that really awkward tag match they had last week that the crowd was completely dead for, that made the Usos look more heelish. They were using a lot of rest holds, and they were trying to slow the pace down, and they did not use as many high spots. This match completely negates anything that happened last week because they were picking up where they left off last week. They did the normal spots of the Samoan Suicide Dive, and everything worked as well as it normally does. So yeah, that's going to continue. Well, Seth Rollins and Kane need to realize real quick they need to take out Roman Reigns because he has become a problem and he needs to be solved permanently. Something needs to be done about him, so Kane gets the brilliant idea that there's going to be a handicap match later on the night. Reigns against Kane and Rollins. Okay. So we get our first of several Brock Lesnar not on television, so I'm going to put up a promo that was taped weeks ago promo. And that is going to be the first one of these fireside chats we're going to get here. Brock gave John Cena a chance to give up. Heyman says Cena survived because Brock allowed him to. He took pity on John Cena and just ended the fight. See, Brock is humiliated that Cena would even try to invoke a rematch clause. This is a bad mistake from John Cena. See, Cena basically is going to stand up, and then Brock's going to knock him down. He's going to stand up again, Brock's going to knock him down, and eventually he's going to get to the point that Brock's not going to let him get back up. Mark my words, at Night of Champions, it's going to be your last night in the universe. Game over. So yes, Brock is looking to kill John Cena. Okay, we're getting a lot of that tonight, actually, so yeah, there's always that. Anyway, I had no issue with Brock being off television. I have no problem with having a champion that's not on television at all, especially if we get promos like this every week, and I have no issue to believe that there's not going to be just that sometime soon. So we get a rematch, supposedly, between the Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler as well as facing off against The Miz, who every day since we called him out on it is not looking like Johnny Cage as much as he did before. So The Miz walks out. Of course he's not dressed to compete. This is brilliant, by the way. Miz was VIP'd at Disneyland, and he even took a picture with Mickey, and he basically said that sometimes you need to worry about not every match. Like, sometimes you need to understand that not every match is important. And there you go. And you need to get ready for the big one. So, in order to get ready for the big one, sometimes in Hollywood you have to have a stunt double. So, Miz announces a stunt double, and I knew exactly when this started this was going to happen. And sure enough, it's exactly what happens. Damien Sandow comes out, dressed like the Miz, wearing his gear and everything. And we're calling him Damien Mizdow. He comes out dressed like the Miz. And right away, Ziggler drop kicks him. 1-2, and Mizdow kicks out. So he gets backed in the corner by Sandow. Shoulder blocks, snap suplex gets a 1 count, and he stomps, yells awesome really loud, throwing up the Su-Fi like he usually does, like the Miz likes to do. A headbutt to Ziggler, and a nice back elbow. Leaping knee drop misses. Ducks the clothesline from Sandow. Dolph the hooking clothesline off the opposite ropes. Hooking clothesline. Charges in with a big splash. Goes for the reverse neckbreaker. Gets tossed off. Drop kick to the knee from Sandow. And he goes for a very awkward figure 4. Dolph turns momentum. And Sandow gets the ropes. Ducks the clothesline. Zigzag 1, 2, 3. Miz is on commentary this whole time. He's like, well, he's fired. And Miz applauds Dolph beating up his stunt double. I like this. I like this a lot. Basically because I'm a fan of everybody involved in this. So I have no problem with it happening. Sandow's on television still, which is awesome. And Dolph's got a title, which is awesome. And Miz is doing this really awesome, like, smarmy Hollywood shtick. I love it. It's awesome. I think it works really well. Pun not intended here. Well, somewhat. But yeah, I have no problem with this. This will continue. This will lead to a rematch at Night of Champions. And I think Dolph will probably still get the upper hand. I don't think Miz is going to win the title back the next month. I think that you're probably not going to have a title change the month after. Don't do a new title change every new pay-per-view. Like, you got to do something big. Well, my night was obviously made worse because Jerry the King Lawler had the brilliant idea to try to reconcile Nikki and Brie Bella. So Nikki, of course, says Brie needs new music when this started. You know, the thing I called out on Twitter saying that the beginning of the Bella Twins theme that Trey loves so much is reminding me so much of the song Music by Madonna. It really is. Listen to the songs back to back. It's like taking Chumbawamba's Tub Thumping and putting it together as a mashup with the Miz's theme I came to play. Do it sometimes, trust me. I don't think I can listen to it like that again, but that's another story altogether. So, Nikki backstabbed Brie, and she didn't know that Stephanie would be so much of a witch and mistreat her the way she did when she left, and she's sorry for that. Forget WWE, forget Total Divas. This is me, Brianna, talking to you, Nicole. So Nikki turns around and says, you always wanted the spotlight. It was always about you. I'm done with everyone. I'm over it all. Brie is reduced to tears. Nikki says she's like continuing to berate her, and Brie is crocodile tears the whole time. So Jerry tries to back her up, and she gets slapped. She slaps Jerry Lawler. And she says, I have no sister, and says one of the worst things I've heard in a wrestling ring in a long time. I wish you died in the womb. Yay, PG Eric, I love that. So knocks Brie off a chair, starts beating her with a shoe. Who uses a shoe, honestly? Apparently they do. So yeah, there's always that. And weird lights here, I apologize. I don't know what's wrong with that. It's very strange lighting. So, I don't know why it just went strange lights like that, but there we go, it's better. So now, right in the middle of me shooting this video too, it's really strange. I have to fix that in a little bit. Now, yeah, so she slaps Jerry again, and Nikki snaps, and yeah, we're going to get Nikki and Brie at Night of Champions. Goody gumdrops. Less said about this, the better. I don't want to talk about this at all. I could care less for this. This is like when Raw started to go off the wagon here. There's a couple things that were decent off the rest of it, but most of it was kind of just okay. Now, we get our next matches, Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins and Kane, and we pick it up midway through, leaping clothesline, charging clothesline, right hand, charging clothesline. Gee, I wonder who I'm doing moves for. And a right hand. This is all done to Kane, by the way. Seth rammed into the barricade, and then the ring apron. Backdrop suplex on the ring apron, and a leaping drop kick to Kane. And he leaps up, going for the Superman punch, and he gets countered with a goozle. He goes for the choke slam, he releases the grip, and ducks the clothesline. Spear, Rollins with the briefcase to the back of the head. There's his disqualification. So Seth tosses Roman out, wakes Kane up to try to finish the job. So they go after Roman, and Seth sends Roman to the barricade. Kane reveals the cinder blocks yet again, and Kane lays Roman head over the blocks once more. Seth gets on the table for the curb stomp, and Kane gets back into the wall. Superman punch to Rollins. Kane gets, well, basically Kane got, it didn't happen, but what really happened to Kane was Kane got sent into the ring post, but it missed by a mile. Missed by a mile. Like, we're talking, like, missed by a mile. Like, you could, like, put your hands out, and it was, like, crazy. Toss over the barricade, grabs the center block, walking towards Seth, and Seth's like, no! So Roman grabs the center block and throws it towards the ring and the ring post, and of course it shatters on impact, and it lands on the announce table. So, Sellins, I put them together. So Rollins gets the heck out of Dodge, and Superman punch to Kane. I really think that they should have kept Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins apart for a while. I don't think they should touch each other a bit. I understand why this is being done, because Ambrose is off filming the new WWE film, and they obviously wrote him off television last week. But still, I mean, I really think they could have waited on this one. And, you know, if Kane is going to do anything, number one, get him gear. Number one, he doesn't need to look like the deadbeat dad anymore, and he's not wearing his wrestling gear, so get him something else. I mean, him coming out dressed like a backyarder just got off work at a telemarketing job, yeah, that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me at all. So, Bray Wyatt is in the back. He says, seen as a shell of a man who never existed. Your shell is now cracked. You're wounded, and basically, Bray Wyatt's going to put him out of his misery. It's so much nicer on the other side. Run. Gotta love that. So we get John Cena and Bray Wyatt in the main. Alright. Next match, Don't Care time for Raw, which is basically the last half hour until the main event. It's Los Matadores making their triumphant return against Slater Gator. And Los Matadores actually win. I don't know why, and it shouldn't have happened. So yes, they had something going with Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil, and they basically have them shoving each other and trying to one-up each other, and basically they look like they're going to break up. So yeah, they're just doing nothing with that team. Complete waste of time. Bo Dallas and Kofi Kingston is really short. Bo almost botches the swinging bulldog, which I really think he should stop using. I don't like the swinging bulldog as a finisher for Bo. I never have. I like the double arm DDT. I think that works for Bo. Everyone uses a spear, so you can't use that. So I would go back to using the double arm DDT as a finisher for Bo Dallas. I think that makes perfect sense. And after the match is over, Jack Swagger becomes the bully, and he basically attacks Bo Dallas, and the crowd boos him for it. So yes, Swagger tried to get some revenge on Bo Dallas, and the crowd did not have any of it, so that was that. Yeah, Bo Dallas and Jack Swagger are continuing, and Kofi Kingston is fading away as the days go on. Hopefully this stable with Xavier Woods and Big E is actually still going to happen somehow, some way. Main event time, John Cena and Bray Wyatt. First match, forced right out of the gate, John Cena with a lariat on Bray, and then he German suplexes Bray because obviously he's got to do Bray what Brock did to him. Hits a backdrop suplex, basically a backdrop driver at this point, and an elbow, a protoplex, and gets a one off of that. So the jab's in the corner, and he punches away on Bray in the corner. A really bad looking knee strike to Bray in the corner. German suplex, and another clothesline, a German. Bray's like, and he elbows out of it, and an avalanche on Cena. Cena double legs him, doesn't care about selling anything, and starts punching away. Rowan and Harper make the save, and here comes Mark Henry and the Big Show, and they all fight, and we get a commercial. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen next. Come back, commercial break. You get our main event, our real main event, the Wyatt family against John Cena, Mark Henry, and the Big Show. I'm sleeping as I'm writing this. So the Big Show with a scoop slam on Rowan. Big elbow drop off the ropes, and then punches in the corner, overhand chop, gut shot, overhand chop, tags in Mark Henry. Show whips him into an avalanche on Rowan and a gut shot, a headbutt, charges in, he gets the boot up, and a clothesline gets a 2 on Mark Henry. So he tags in Bray Wyatt, he pounds away on Mark Henry, makes a tag back in, this time to Luke Harper. He drops an elbow into a chin lock. Henry elbows his way out, a knee lift, and tags in a Rowan. He whips him into Rowan, scoop slam on Mark Henry. Since he slammed the Big Show on SmackDown, he had to slam Mark Henry on Raw, apparently. Tags in Harper. He charges him with a running elbow in the corner. He nails the second running elbow in the corner. He charges, then he eats the boot from Mark Henry. Tags the Big Show, clothesline, whip in, charges him with a butt in the corner. And Harper catches him off the ropes with a drop kick. And tagging Eric Rowan. Big boot on the Big Show. Tags in Bray Wyatt. Leaping back senton 1-2 and a kick out. Tags in Rowan. Leaping knee drop connects. And Harper slaps Rowan. And Rowan charges him with the avalanche. Right into a super kick from Luke Harper on the Big Show. 1-2 and a kick out. Tags in Bray Wyatt. And a choke slam by the Big Show on Bray. Tags in Harper. And of course he tags in John Cena. So clothesline. German suplex, clothesline on Rowan, side headlock takeover out of nowhere, and mounted punches on Harper, STF on Harper, he taps out, that's the end. So after the match is over, AA on Rowan, Henry and the Big Show grab Bray Wyatt, he tried to escape, they toss him into the ring, he eats the AA, Harper eats one more AA, and Cena stands tall and stands strong. I had no problems with Cena doing this, but why would they do it to the Wyatt family? I understand why, but, I mean, yeah, this really made Bray and company look bad. I'm not going to lie about this. You could say whatever you want, but yeah, this should have been, if they're going to squash someone, they should have been squashing other people. Like, this should have been like the Heath Slater, Titus O'Neil spot. This should not have been the Wyatt family, who, they've really been, like, misusing the Wyatts a lot lately. Obviously, they can give Rowan and Harper the run with the tag titles, which now they look like they're not going to. And they're not doing anything with Bray Wyatt. But then again, you keep doing this stuff with Bray Wyatt, it's going to make more sense when Bray turns babyface before the year is over. I think even Harper and Rowan lay out Bray, and that ends up being Bray fighting them off. And then that's one of his first real feuds as a babyface. I think that's probably going to happen. I understand Cena's trying to show a new mean streak, got to show that he's got the killer instinct still, but I could have picked a whole lot more people on that roster that you could have done that with. And where was Rusev in this? If they're going to do anything with Rusev and Mark Henry, maybe they've dropped it already after a week. They went back to Rusev and Swagger. So, who knows? WWE, I don't think, know what they want to do at this point, because they're pushing Rusev towards Swagger, and then Swagger can get the job done. They're transitioning into a feud with Bo Dallas. They set up something with Mark Henry. We're doing this horrible tag team with the Big Show they don't need to do, and they're wasting that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't understand anymore. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. This Raw was not very good. I would say right now, what I'd check out, Rusev and Swagger was good. And I like the fact that they really had believability. Swagger was actually going to get the win, which was awesome, and the crowd really got into it. But that was pretty much the end of that. Cesaro and Van Dam, really short match, but it was okay. Paige and Natty had a good match. I really enjoyed that, and I will continue to enjoy that. I will say right now that the Usos versus Goldust and Stardust was fine. It was alright. Dolph and The Miz was okay because it was Sandow and Dolph instead, and I actually had no problem with that. It was a little short, but I understand. It was a lot longer than I thought it would be, which is saying something. Roman Reigns against Rollins and Kane is just kind of there. It was more of a SmackDown match than a Raw match. The less said about the rest of the show, the better. Cena and Wyatt was one-sided. The six-man was kind of a waste. Yeah, this Raw was just kind of like, if you skipped it, it wasn't a big deal. But some of those events, like after a pay-per-view, it's usually like, let's hit the reset button, or we transition to the next pay-per-view if this is like one of those in-between pay-per-views. Night of Champions is not an in-between pay-per-view, because obviously this is the pay-per-view where you, the viewer out there, can decide if you're going to continue your subscription to the WWE Network or not. And I know a lot of people that are probably not going to after WWE's putting out a great product. So after that, yeah, this was not a great edition of Raw, and we still have 2 weeks until my birthday, which is more important than Night of Champions. But yes, obviously we're transitioning to Night of Champions. We still have a couple of Raws left to go, so hopefully some good stuff will come out of that. And I don't worry about it, because I'm not going to be recapping wrestling while I'm in Orlando, so there you go. So I'll get to take a nice little break from recapping wrestling, so I apologize for that. But you guys that are regular pop viewers should know that that's what happens when I'm in Florida. So there's always that. Now, wrestling fans, if you want to hear about something I'm a little more passionate about right now, check out tomorrow's video. We're going to talk about Hardcore Justice. Yes, I'm really happy about the resurgence of TNA, and I'm looking forward to talking Impact tomorrow. And Little Birdie has told me that Publix blew the spot. And once again, another, even though it was already let out because of a website reveal that shouldn't have happened early, that we're finally going to get our official announcement of Halloween as the final Halloween Horror Nights house. It's been in front of our eyes the whole time. I mean, it's called Halloween Horror Nights after all. I mean, come on, people. It makes perfect sense, right? Anyway, so yeah, that's going to be before the week's over. So once that happens, I'll get to talk about that maze coming to Orlando's event. And yeah, I'm still, I'm about, I don't know, I'd say 50%. 50% sure at this point that come second weekend, Saturday of the second week I'll be down, which is, I got a calendar in front of me, I apologize. It is the 27th, the 27th of September. I, and along with Joe, may actually be going, not to Halloween Horror Nights, but we may be going to Tampa, because we might be going to Hello Scream, but that's in the running right now. Could be doing Blue Man Group on my birthday, haven't quite decided yet. I guess it seems on how money works out by then. And like I said, 21 days, I'll check into Cabana Bay. Universal Orlando, cannot wait to start this 2 weeks of awesomeness. So yes, that being said, as always, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about Pop. And if you haven't yet, go to Facebook, click like on that Facebook fan page. It's Suro and Disney Pop on Facebook. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Suro and Disney. If you'd like to friend request me on Facebook, it's Owen Disney. Or if you'd like to talk wrestling with me, either WWE or TNA, you'd like to talk Disney with me, or Universal, or Halloween Horror Nights, theme parks in general, movies, music, you want to ask me questions, or if you want to become a popcaster yourself, send your content to my email, suroanddisney@gmail.com. And I officially want to announce that we are at 48,043 views, so thank you out there that has viewed this channel. We very much appreciate it here on Pop. We are at 682 subscribers, and pushing towards that 50,000 subscribers and 50,000 views and 1,000 subscribers before 2014 finishes. So that being said, thank you guys and girls up there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.